Salutations everyone and welcome to What Mattered, this time coming to you from nighttime. What's next? Like a slavery game sold on Steam? What? They actually did that. Wow. Alright, what mattered, folks? I'm actually at SAC Anime all this weekend, so I apologize for the poor lighting for this week's edition. So we got some interesting Marvel news to talk about this week, with the shakeup of Age of Ultron being a disappointment, a failure at $1.4 billion, really? Well, you can kind of see where Disney is coming from with how well the first Avengers did in both ratings and the box office, and how the follow-up didn't do as well, and apparently it was bad enough results for them that they're going to shake things up that is long overdue. The president of Marvel, Kevin Feige, who's been in charge of the cinematic universe of Marvel, has had quite a good track record making the company billions of dollars. Feige has been able to do this in spite of all the meddling of Marvel's CEO and middleman between him and Disney in Perlmutter, who is kind of like the reason all of the bad things of Marvel have been happening over the past few years. Perlmutter is the middleman that Feige has to go through to get to Disney. And after Feige having such a great track record, wouldn't you think he deserves a little bit of autonomy? Well, with this shakeup, it looks like they're cutting out the fat old middleman and giving Feige the control that he has earned and, quite frankly, us fans deserve. Perlmutter is the reason why we don't have Black Widow action figures, which, you know, comes up on the internet every few weeks. He's also one of the main reasons that Edgar Wright dropped out from the Ant-Man project, and even a huge possibility of Feige leaving Marvel during the Civil War production. Perlmutter has been so terrible that Kevin Feige actually seriously considered leaving Marvel with Perlmutter's meddling in the production of Captain America's Civil War. Perlmutter's been trying to pinch pennies and cut costs like a good old budget slippage man do. But, you know, this is kind of a multi-billion-dollar franchise within a multi-billion-dollar company, so you think they could be able to, you know, throw as much money as they want at these movies that make hundreds of millions of billions of dollars. So this will give Feige more control, it will give him more direct content with Disney, it'll give them more funds to shoot the movies that they want to make, and since, you know, Civil War is kind of Avengers 2.5 in a lot of senses, with the cast and the scope, and basically it deserved to be an Avengers movie and a multi-parter at that with a storyline like Civil War. But alas, with Perlmutter's meddling, Feige almost had enough. But now with this big change, hopefully we'll be able to see more money being flowed into these awesome movies to give us the best product that both the creators and us consumers want and deserve. EA announced that Star Wars Battlefront is beginning a beta in early October for the current platforms of PS4, Xbox One, and PC. There was no mention of a pre-order being necessary, so it sounds like it's going to be an open beta, which, with the success of Destiny and Black Ops 3's huge record-setting open betas, seems like a pretty smart move. We'll be able to test out the 40-man missions on Hoth. We'll be able to use the hero characters like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. We're going to be showing out some of those new modes that they are testing out. Of course, there's going to be some bugs. You know, it's the beta. No word on how long it will last or, you know, the exact date, but they say early October. So we had Force Friday yesterday with all the release of the Force Awakens toys, and so Star Wars season is in full effect, and that will get into high gear starting next month with this Battlefront beta, and then when the game comes out, and then finally with the movie. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan. Unfortunately, they did say in Battlefront that there will be no server browsers that we've been come to know and love from the Battlefield series, and will instead have the old-fashioned skill-based matchmaking, which has always worked in every single game that has done, has never got, you know, been plagued with connection issues or player frustration. So with every time we talk about Battlefront, there's some down things about it and there's some up things about it, so we're just going to have to see what kind of final product all this bad and good fleshes out to be. October 7th is the date that we finally get back our amazing DC superhero shows on the CW, in the Flash and the Arrow. We know all kinds of crazy shit going on with the Flash. Most of my predictions have ended up being true so far from what we've heard. And then there's the Arrow, which we know is giving Mr. Terrific his screen debut, as well as like Diggle getting a costume, which admittedly looks kind of silly and has gotten mostly negative responses. But if we've learned anything from seeing especially in a superhero movie or, TV show, it's context that matters. But within the context of the show, with the lighting and the editing and the production, it all works out. So hopefully the same will be true for Diggle. We did get to see some, buzz trailer at Dragon Con showing Diggle in his, leather jacket and like a Magneto type helmet, which I'm not too fond of, but like I said, we'll have to see how it looks in the actual show. We got Mr. Terrific, we got Damien Dark as the villain, as they set up for last season. So let's see if Arrow can pick up, after having a slow season last year, start to, up the quality a little bit. And we also be nice to see Flash continue their brilliance, and after having such a strong freshman season, to see if they continue and not stumble like other superhero seasons have done in the past. Microsoft has announced a new Xbox One bundle, which seems absolutely perfect for everybody who doesn't have an Xbox One, and maybe even for some people that already have one but want to see a little bit of an upgrade. It's going to come with a terabyte hybrid solid state hard drive, which is fantastic since I myself a physical disc guy, but my Xbox One has already filled up. And with this new hybrid solid state drive and the extra memory, they say that your downloads are going to go 20% faster, which seems reasonably accurate from what we know of, hard drive speeds. And that is really, really cool, because sometimes those load times can just take forever when you just want to start playing your games. But with this terabyte hybrid solid state hard drive and the Elite controller at $500, easily the best console bundle deal of this generation currently when it comes down to value. When you think about the memory, and especially if you are like me and would really like to have a very, very awesomely fantastic controller for some competitive type of video games, it's definitely the best buy at this point in time when it just comes to straight up value. Memory is definitely something that they're going to have to keep upgrading with these consoles, since games are really, really big nowadays and are just going to keep getting bigger, especially with Xbox One rolling out their backwards compatibility in December, with all of the 360 games for gold games being backwards compatible instantly. So Xbox One gamers are going to get 4 free games every single month. You're going to need that memory, and at this price with that Pro controller, that is easily the best deal that Microsoft has had for all so far. And if you're like me and you're waiting for the perfect opportunities to start getting a PlayStation 4, you may have your wait come to a slight halt in just about a month with the announcement of Uncharted Drake Collection Bundle with a 500 gigabyte PlayStation 4 at the low cost of $400. So, you get that game that you should get, and everyone should get, even regardless of what you think about this series, or if you've already played it, or if you haven't. It's fantastic, and you definitely should. And, this just saves you having to buy that game. You also get, the standard console at $400. So this is, the franchise that got me to buy PlayStation 3, and it's going to be the one that gets me to buy a PlayStation 4 as well. Who knows if a better bundle will come along once Uncharted 4 actually drops, but this one is a pretty sweet deal. Fire up your PETs, boys. Mega Man is getting a movie. Well, at least that's the rumor, and when it comes to Mega Man, things coming out is never really something that we can bank on. I would be highly surprised if this ever got anything further, because as we know, Mega Man's recent track record of things coming out is more than spotty. They canceled Mega Man Universe, they canceled Mega Man Legends 3, they canceled Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, they canceled Mega Man Universe, they didn't even have him in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Ultimate Edition of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And I doubt they're going to have this movie come out, because that just seems to be Mega Man's thing, especially now that Kenji Inafune is out of the Capcom team. Mega Man just doesn't seem to be a thing that's happening. Oh, but they got the Legacy Collection, which is just like the old collection that they had a few years ago, except with less games. So the Mega Man franchise has definitely seen better days, and I need to see some concrete proof that it's going to get better before I start getting my hopes up. Anyways, everyone, that is what mattered this week. If you would like to know what matters in the future, you can hit the subscribe button. One of these comes out every single Saturday. Hope you all enjoyed. Leave your comments below on these stories that I mentioned today, and I will see you next time.